Hey everyone, welcome back to Alt Buzz. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. And if you're a regular, you know the drill. Today we're talking about a camera that's had the photography world buzzing for the last year. The Hasselblad X2D 100C. It's been hailed as a hybrid masterpiece by some, and others are still on the fence about whether it's worth the hefty price tag. Well, after spending a year with it, we're diving into the real value and durability of this camera. If you're considering investing in the Hasselblad X2D 100C, or just curious about whether it holds up long-term, then stick around because we're covering everything. From design and performance to durability in tough conditions, you don't want to miss this. All right, let's start with the design because, wow, this camera is a stunner. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Hasselblad has a reputation for crafting beautifully designed cameras, and the X2D 100C is no exception. With its solid aluminum body, it not only feels premium, but it's also incredibly durable. After a full year of use, including several drops and rough handling during shoots, it still looks and feels brand new. And trust me, I'm not the most careful person when it comes to handling gear. The camera's minimalist design, with just the essentials, really adds to the elegance. It's free of unnecessary dials and buttons, which can be both a blessing and a curse, depending on your workflow. But if you're like me and you appreciate simplicity, you'll love how clean the design is. It really lets you focus on what matters. Taking amazing photos. And let's not forget, the camera weighs just 895 grams, making it one of the more compact medium format bodies out there. Now, there's one major thing to mention here: the weather sealing. It's surprisingly rugged. I've shot in the rain, freezing cold, and even in dusty environments, and the camera's sealed design held up flawlessly. This thing is built to last, and it shows. So if you're worried about babying your camera in tough conditions, the X2D can handle it. Trust me on that. Let's be real though. The design is great, but the real star of the show is the image quality. The Hasselblad X2D 100C comes with a massive 100 megapixel medium format sensor. And when I say massive, I mean it. It captures incredible detail, the kind that makes you stop and zoom in just to admire the clarity. Over the past year, I've shot everything from landscapes to portraits, and the level of detail is just mind-blowing. The 16-bit color depth is another feature that sets this camera apart. It gives you a huge dynamic range, meaning you can recover a ton of information from both the shadows and highlights in post-production. This makes it a perfect camera for professionals who are serious about getting the most out of their DRAW files. But here's where it really shines: the dynamic range. I've found that the 15 stops of dynamic range allow you to shoot in tricky lighting conditions without sacrificing detail in the highlights or shadows. It gives you so much room to play with in post. Over the past year, I've pushed this sensor to its limits in both bright, direct sunlight and low-light scenarios, and it never disappointed me. Now let's talk about performance, because that's often where high-end cameras start to show their true colors over time. With the X2D 100C, you're not just getting a camera that's beautiful to look at, you're getting a workhorse that can perform day in, day out. One of the standout features is the in-body image stabilization, IBIS. Over the year, I've shot handheld in some pretty tricky situations, and the 5-axis IBIS makes sure that my images are always crisp. Even at slower shutter speeds, I've been able to get sharp, clear shots without needing a tripod. And let's not forget about the phase detection autofocus system. When this camera first came out, there were some grumbles about the lack of continuous autofocus or subject tracking. But thanks to firmware updates, Hasselblad has really improved the AF performance, especially with the latest face detection update. Over the past year, this has made the X2D 100C a reliable performer, whether you're shooting portraits or fast-moving subjects. Speaking of firmware, Hasselblad has rolled out multiple updates in the last year, improving everything from autofocus to system stability. That's a big deal, especially when you're investing in a camera at this price point. The fact that Hasselblad is committed to improving the user experience over time makes it a solid long-term investment. All right, let's talk value for money. Is the Hasselblad X2D 100C worth its nearly $9,000 price tag? Well, that's a complicated question. If you're a professional photographer who regularly works in high-end commercial or fine art photography, the answer is a resounding yes. The image quality alone justifies the price. And if you need a camera that will hold up under pressure, deliver consistent results, and give you flexibility in post-production, it's hard to beat. That said, if you're more of an enthusiast or someone who's on the fence about medium format, you might find this camera a little overkill. It's a fantastic piece of gear, no doubt about that, but the investment is significant. You're not just paying for the camera, you're paying for the Hasselblad name, the premium build, and the unbeatable image quality. One of the things I've noticed over the last year is that the X2D 100C doesn't lose its value quickly. Unlike some cameras that depreciate pretty fast, Hasselblad cameras tend to hold their value. If you're planning on upgrading in a few years, you'll probably be able to sell it for a decent amount, which is always a bonus. Of course, no camera is perfect, right? So what could be improved with the Hasselblad X2D 100C? Well, the biggest issue for me over the last year has been the lack of video functionality. If you're a hybrid shooter who likes to switch between stills and video, this isn't the camera for you. Hasselblad decided to focus solely on still photography with this model. And while the images are incredible, the lack of video will be a deal breaker for some. Another area where I think Hasselblad could improve is the battery life. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad by any means, but for long shoots, I always carry a couple of extra batteries just in case. The 420-shot CIPA rating isn't exactly stellar, especially if you're coming from a DSLR or even other mirrorless systems. It's manageable, but it's something to keep in mind if you're considering this camera for long shoots or travel photography. So after a full year of using the Hasselblad X2D 100C, what's the final verdict? Well, this camera is a tank. It's held up through all sorts of tough conditions, and even though I've banged it around a bit, there's been zero damage to the body. The weather sealing is fantastic, and the build quality is exactly what you'd expect from a camera at this price point. If you're a professional photographer looking for a reliable, high-performing medium format camera that's built to last, this is a great choice. Its durability, combined with its unbeatable image quality, makes it a solid long-term investment. So would I recommend it after a year of use? Absolutely, but only if you really need that 100-megapixel sensor and all the perks that come with it. For most enthusiasts, though, you might be better off with something a bit more versatile, especially if video is important to you. All right, that's it for today's video. If you found this review helpful, make sure to hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more camera reviews, tips, and tutorials. Thanks for watching Alt Buzz, and I'll catch you in the next one.